Day 9. I kind of cheated because day 8 had some stuff you didn't see. Because it kind of was a nice little bookend to having the windows finished, but then I saw more hours in the day and I just couldn't let them go because there's some rain forecasted and I'm not sure how the coming week's gonna look. So now that I know how to frame a wall pretty quick, the wife and I just got out here, knocked it out, put it up, and it looks great. So we've got 4 walls now, and I've even got my second top plate up there on the top that actually overhangs the joint with the side walls, which is what you want to do. So if you look up there, you can see it's longer than the bottom top plate in this plane, and that locks them together better. So that makes this a lot more stable, and I was able to take off my my 45-degree support braces. So it's hanging in there on its own. Lee looked at it and he said, you know what, you probably want to reinforce this a little more. So this is to plan, but he's suggested we add another king stud on each side, because this is a pretty wide open door, a pretty big door opening. It's 6'3" spread here with, you know, no structure. So just so those doors don't sag over time, we're going to put 2 king studs on either side. And then even some horizontal braces, 2x4s, which I do not know what those are called offhand. That's what it's called right there. And just to make this front wall as strong as it can be, since it is a little bit less in structure because of the opening. So anyway, what's today? Well, I just have a couple of hours, so we'll see what I can actually get done. But in general, I'm gonna put in all the second top plates, so that'll be finished. At that point, the next step is siding, and so we'll grab some plywood maybe and see if we can't put the walls up, the finished part of the walls. All right, got the second king stud in, so this is now triple thick, and it's a lot easier when if you do it before you nail the wall together. Little pro tip. Do that first. But now I've cut some short blocks to fit in here to create some additional support. I didn't know what this was called earlier. I think they're called shear wall blocking. So I've gone ahead and marked my wall here at 4 foot high. Just a random height. I don't think it has to be anything particular. And then I'm going to toenail it in with the nail gun. See how good my bad thumb holds up here. Might use a clamp. I just don't have enough hand power. The reinforced king studs, shear wall blocking in place, and I think my front wall is looking pretty good. Now we just do the top plates and we can start putting plywood up. All right, I've got my 12-foot 2x4 up here. This is the first top plate, and that's the second top plate, and you see how it overlaps the top plate from the other wall, and that interlocking creates a lot more strength. So you definitely want to do that with your second top plate. And I didn't cut the board. I'm just going to nail, it's got a little bit of a crown here, so I'm just going to nail it down, and whatever the excess is on the end, I'll use a circular saw and cut it off. Got some siding up. So let's have a quick conversation about siding. Well, the first thing you'll notice is this is just plywood. instead of the T111, which is a common siding material that people use. It's sort of prefabbed, and it's got what looks like panels etched into it. Again, it's called T111. It's kind of expensive, so it's in the $30 range a sheet, and it's really made for it. It even has overlapping tongue and groove kind of stuff, so that you can overleave the panels on the studs. So it's not bad, but it's just expensive, and I wanted to go with a different look because it kind of looks, in my opinion, cheap. You see a lot of sheds with it, and it's just not very impressive. So since I'm doing this myself, I'm going to go with plywood, which as it looks now is pretty boring, but the goal is then to buy some 1x2s and create vertical strips. Kind of, I don't know what the name of the style is, but I'll have vertical rails on the side here of the plywood. So it'll give a three-dimensional effect. Looks very much like some effects that you see on different houses. So it'll look more interesting. I'm going to paint it so you won't see the plywood design. So there's that conversation. So you just have to ask yourself what it wants to look like, and if you like T111 for its benefits, be prepared for the price. But now we've got the panels up. The first one was key and critical, and you want to basically get it, pick a corner. I picked the bottom left corner, the front of the shed, and if you get that straight, or you just nail it in where it needs to be, and then you work your way up to the next corner. And of course, if you get that right, all the rest of them just fall into place. Now to get it, I went flush with the bottom of the floor joist, and to do that, I used some scrap 2x4s that are lying on the ground from all this cutting that I've been doing. And you can see on my last piece over here, I still got the boards on the ground that I used as lifters, and so that kept it right at the height I needed, so that it was flush with the bottom of the floor joist. And of course, I designed the shed to be from bottom of the floor joist to top of the second top plate. That's exactly 8 feet so that the sheet of plywood would run that length perfectly. So we'll, the rafters or the trusses will sit on top of that and overhang it. So I didn't have to do any cutting. It was just 3 boards of plywood. We'll of course have to cut out the window hole and all that later. But there you go, quick conversation about siding. All right, so we're on our back wall here, and it's a higher distance from the ground. So I've got my system using some blocks and wood this time, and we've got our plywood sitting on top of it. So that's gotten it a little low. I mean, it's lower than I'm going to want it, but at least it's somewhere to rest it while we line it up to the corner here. So the 1x4 molding, not molding, but trim I'm going to install later will cover all this up. But this is going to be back that way. So there'll be an inset V there for now. And again, that trim will cover that up when I'm come back with those 1x4s. But I can't extend it all the way to the edge, outside edge, because that would push me past 144 or 12 feet. 12 feet obviously is divided by 4-foot sheets of plywood very nicely. And I want to reach the stud, the 4-foot stud over there at the other end, halfway on it. So I will push this back right to the edge there and lift it, and we'll get a nail right on this corner. That'll be our starting point. As you go up, you want to make sure that you're halfway overlapping the stud. You can see right through here, I have less than half a stud. So what I'm going to do is Kristen is going to push it out until I tell her to stop, because it's got a bow in it. And we'll get it halfway out, and then I'll nail it in as I go up. So that's something to be careful of. You want to share the stud with both sheets of plywood. Okay, so we put this up with the blocks underneath it just to kind of hold it in place, but don't use that as the guiding line. We hand placed it right on the front corner where the bottom of the joist is. I nail one nail so it can still rotate, because you can see when I come to the top, that is falling in. And a lot of that's to do because we don't have it lifted up enough back down there. But what we're going to do is Kristen's going to lift on her end, And I'm gonna hold this straight right against the front edge of this board, and then we're gonna get it in flush. All right, a lot of you were asking what my thumb looks like after the accident. And so I think I've got a picture for you. Let me put it up for you. Yeah, there you go. That's what my thumb looks like. Looking good. Working on the third wall over here, and that's why I'm moving fast. Rain clouds, storm clouds. Please come another day, and then another day, and then another day until I'm done. All right, this is all I could fit in to this day. But man, we pushed it. It's a beautiful evening out here. You got the bullfrogs croaking down at the pond, and a little purple in the sky. But man, it's just a great night out here. The breeze is going. I want to work, but light is fading. But we got a really cool looking structure behind us, don't we? We walled in 3 walls with a siding. The front side is going to take some cutting of the last couple of pieces of plywood to fit around the door frame.
Hello.
All right, kids want to be seen? There you go. Well, Faree's signing off. Adios, Arriba.